Hi, this is the Teaserking coming to you with week 3 of pro football. I hope you enjoyed my picks last week. They were pretty good, pretty special. A lot of good winners. A lot of locks came in. It was just one of those weeks. Everything basically won. It was just you don't get those weeks often. So when you do, you just like to take advantage of them. I'm looking at week 3's games. I had Kansas City yesterday. I find that when it's a close game, I like to take the best defense and the dog. So I had Kansas City. Let me look at this week's games. Tennessee's laying 3 to San Diego. I just like the dog there. Give me San Diego 9. They're very tough to stop. To me, as long as Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates are there, I'm not a big fan of the running back, but as long as they're there, it's a very good. They're very good underdogs. And Tennessee, to me, is not a blowout type of team. Jake Locker, I don't know what he's doing there. He's not very good. So I don't get a lot of these quarterbacks. They draft them, and then they feel like, well, we drafted him, we got to play him, even though he's not very good. So I just don't see Tennessee as a blowout team. When playing teasers, what you do is look at the final score ahead of time and go, do I honestly think Tennessee's going to win this game by 20 points? And there's no way in hell I think that. So therefore, I like San Diego on a 9. San Diego won at Philly and can certainly win at Tennessee. I think it's a very even game. Take San Diego on the points. Cleveland Mini, you got Bobby Hoyer from Michigan State, who was nothing at Michigan State, starting for Cleveland. Sorry, I can't. I'm not taking that. Mini's only laying 6.5. That's a cheap lay. They're very strong at home. The trend on Cleveland is it's a weird trend. They're a very good road dog and a very good bet against road dog. It means they go on the road, they lose by 3, 6, 7 points. I care. Their Mini's laying 6.5, so you can have 12.5 at Cleveland, which will probably cover, but so will the Mini laying a half a point. But I like Mini. I don't like the quarterback Hoya against with Cleveland. They let Richardson go, which makes no sense. So I just Mini. All they have to do is win at home. I don't like Ponder. He's like Jake Locker. It's like, what's he doing there? Another bad draft pick, but these guys are clueless when it comes to drafting talent, most of them. So I do look at Mini even should win the game. A strange one is Houston laying 2.5 to Baltimore. You're making Baltimore a home dog. I get Baltimore doesn't look as good, but it was huge that they got the win last week and they finally scored, and I look for them to carry that over. Baltimore doesn't lose at home very, very often, and I'll give Houston a credit that they're a decent team, but I don't see Houston being a road favorite in Baltimore. That don't make any sense at all. Yeah, Flacco, he's average. Ray Rice is probably out. Even if he plays, he's hurt. The kid Paul Pierce from Temple, he's a pretty good running back. They just don't have receivers. They let Antoine Baldwin go. It's really hurting them until these receivers can get on the same page with Flacco. So sorry, excuse my yawning. It's Friday night, I'm tired. Now here's one I like. Dallas laying 4.5 to St. Louis. I love St. Louis here. They showed a lot of grit coming back against Atlanta last week, so it shows they're not going to get blown out. Dallas is just a horrible home favorite. They're just terrible. You just bet against them all the time, but especially as a home favorite. St. Louis, they're a better club with Jeff Fisher, the coach, and their defense is very strong. I look for this to be a very close game here. I don't think either team will get past 21. So definitely like the points in this game. Take the dog. Washington laying 2 to Detroit. If yeah, Reggie Bush plays, I would take Detroit in the 8. I know Detroit hasn't won there, but we're not asking them to win. We got 8 points. All we're doing is asking them to stay within 8. They're the better team in this week. Washington, RG3 is not healthy. They don't have a defense, especially a pass defense. Why I liked to play last week was that Arizona at home with Patrick Peterson could one-on-one cover Kelvin Johnson, which he did. Kelvin had 1 catch, and that was about it. You know, he had some catches, but he had that 1 touchdown. But in this game, Washington's secondary is terrible, and the Lions are, you know, they're an average club, but so is Washington. I think the points, take the dog here is good. Again, if Bush plays. If he doesn't play, I don't know. I'd probably still play it, but not as strongly. One game is the New Orleans laying 7.5 to Arizona. That spread was 10. It dropped. This is where you got to be careful. Arizona, it looks like Larry Fitzgerald's got the hamstring problem. He sat out the Lion game. He played a little bit, and you could see he was hurt. So you got to be careful here, because if he doesn't play, I know they got Carson Palmer. They got other weapons, but just be careful with this. What I do like and you got to be aware of is that New Orleans likes to throw the ball, and there's Patrick Peterson and the other LSU secondary lurking for Arizona, and they'll take away the receivers. It's a good matchup for Arizona this game. And Arizona's got a pretty tough defense, so this game won't be that 30-point rout you think it's New Orleans. New Orleans' defense just isn't there yet, so I'm not going to play the game because Fitzgerald. Now, if he plays, it'd be different, but from what I saw last week, his hamstring was bothering him. It's one of those things that you just got to be careful with, so I'm not going to play it, but it's not as easy, New Orleans, and a big win as you would think, because the matchup is great secondary for Arizona. They will give this game fits. Carolina laying 1 of the Giants. I like the Giants as the dog here. Carolina's an average team. I know the Giants are having trouble running the ball. I get it, but Eli Manning still can throw the ball. Against Dallas, he proved it. And even last week, we could have covered had he not thrown the interception to nobody in the last minute of the game. Had he thrown it, we would have got a push or a win at 11. They would have lost by 11. Basically, I don't think the Giants are as bad as they look. I know everybody says it, but without a running attack, they're not balanced on offense. Their defense still looks good. Carolina doesn't show me anything. If you can get more than 7, I'd take the Giants lately here. Game I really like is Miami laying 2.5 to Atlanta. Miami's quarterback Tannehill has got a hurt shoulder. Atlanta's lost Steven Jackson, but their backup runners should be good. And as long as Javier Jones plays the wide receiver, they should be okay. Atlanta getting 8.5. I mean, Atlanta's the better team here. Again, they got the wrong team favored. You get an 8.5 in Atlanta. Thank you very much. That's what you're looking for. The weak favorite Miami, real strong dog Atlanta, who's even better. That's what I told you last week with the Detroit game. Arizona should have been favored in the game by 3. They win by 5. And when you get the wrong team favored, and especially in a teaser, you know, we had an extra. What did we have? Arizona, and I think 8 or 9 or 10 points, and you know, it was a joke. I mean, they won the game straight out. So it's just one of those things. You got to be careful of the line when they get the wrong team favored. Seattle laying 19 to Jacksonville is awfully tough. I mean, I get Seattle should kill this team. Jacksonville has got no offense. Seattle basically will dominate them defensively. And they probably will win by 25, 30 points. But this isn't college football. They beat San Francisco. Seattle did last week. I get it. But the problem is there's a chance they'll be a little flat. Yes, they're at home and they're great at home, and I get that. It's just hard to lay tees 13, 14 points. I mean, a teaser in the NFL, I mean, it's just so hard to lay more. You're almost laying 2 touchdowns in the teaser. Is Jacksonville that bad? They are, but Chad Henne's the quarterback, not Gabbard, who's that terrible. Shouldn't even be in the NFL. And yeah, it looks obvious. Seattle will win. They will win. There's no way Jacksonville's winning this game. The question is, they got to win by 20 points. They could easily win by 10 or 11 points, or a late touchdown by Jacksonville, and it could be 24-7 or something, 24-10. So it's just hard in a teaser to lay 13 points in the NFL. Seattle could do it, but just be careful with that. Chicago laying 3 to Pitt, I'm kind of confused on. Again, I think the wrong team's favored here. Pitt's not as bad as they look. Chicago doesn't even look that good. They barely beat Cincinnati. They barely beat Minnesota at the end of the game. I don't get why Chicago is favored by 3 here. I really don't. I get Pitt's got a little bit of problems. But if you looked at the second half of the Cincinnati game, Pitt moved the ball. They weren't that terrible. They still have Roethlisberger. The line will get used to it. The receivers will figure out how to get open. Just a lot of, a new offensive coordinator. I don't know why they're running different line schemes. I mean, it's like, these guys have to realize you've got to figure what the players do and coach to the players. It's like, what are you doing? So I don't understand. You bring an offensive coordinator, he's so stupid he can only run his system. But the team's not built for that system. It was a terrible hire, I think. I don't like, you don't bring in an offensive coordinator and say, change my offense around. But you don't have the personnel to do it. I think that was stupid. I like Pitt in the 9 here. I really do. I just don't see Chicago blowing out Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. I get they lost to Tennessee. I get they lost to Cincinnati. We locked Pittsburgh last week because Cincinnati's never been favored in that rivalry for the last 10 years. So it was good. I had the 13 covered. I just got to take the 9 here. I just, you're not as bad as you look, and it's a matchup. And this is what none of the announcers understand, and none of these football guys that I see on ESPN I want to throw up. They're so freaking stupid. Because Baltimore looks bad against Denver doesn't mean they're that bad of a team. It's just they look bad against Denver. It's Peyton Manning. I get why they look bad. But when you looked at the playoff game last year, they looked bad against them there too. They didn't get them 2 miracle catches because Denver's safety can't cover. They would have lost by 14, 17 points in that game. So they still won the Super Bowl as bad as they are. So basically, that's my point here. It's simply not, teams aren't as bad. Frisco looked bad at Seattle. Is Frisco a bad team? No. You can't look at 1 week and make the determination the team's bad. It's the matchup. It's always the matchup. You've got to understand that. Last game, Denver laying 15 to Oakland. Cut it to 9. Take that. That's a good one. Under 10 points is very good with Denver. They're very hot. Manning will cover. Oakland does have the trend in this. They're 8-2. Oakland in the dog when the game's in Denver, so be a little bit beware of that. I don't know that Denver wins by 45 points here, but I do think they'll win by at least 2 touchdowns. They're laying 15. You got to realize it's the NFL. This isn't college. They're not playing Kent State or Eastern Michigan or Louisiana Monroe. This is pro, and it's still Oakland. They're still a pro team. It's a lot of wood to lay. 15 point. You can lay 9. It's you can't get too excited. You like to get these under 7 in these type of games. That's why it's hard to take Seattle, because I'm getting them to 13, which is no bargain in the NFL. Just beware. It's extremely difficult to get a blowout in the NFL. If it happens, it's based on turnovers. That's what always happens. So I can see Seattle blowing out Jacksonville, but they could be flat because of the Frisco win. Denver, they shouldn't be flat there at home. It's Monday night, but that's what I look at. So I don't really have that great lock like last week where I had 4 locks. Basically, I could have locked 5 or 6. I was going to lock Atlanta, but they showed the injuries, and I waited on that until I knew Julio Jones was playing. And then the San Diego game should have been a lock against Philly. Again, San Diego getting points like that, against just an average team, they're going to cover. So that's week 3 here. Beware the injuries. There's a lot of injuries coming out, but beware that this is the NFL. The replacement is an NFL player. Therefore, he should be fairly good. You shouldn't be surprised. So when there's an injury, it's not college, because they don't have the depth in college. So I would look at that. I didn't comment on the New England-Tampa Bay game. I don't know what's going on with New England. They're terrible. I mean, they're not even pro receivers. I don't get it, except for Edelman and of course Gronk. But Hernandez really screwed him over. And I don't know why they don't pick up Randy Moss, to tell you the truth. He's out there. He's played with them. Even Terrell Owens. I mean, to be able to get him at a decent price. And Randy Moss already knows their offense, so I don't get why they don't pick him up. I'm sure Brady would love to have him. And they got to cut whoever that Dobson guy is. He's just terrible. I don't get the NFL. They could easily have picked up a guy from Texas Tech, Hawaii, Nevada, BYU, any of these, TCU type of players who are very good, but they play in these smaller conferences, and at least they can catch the ball. I mean, I don't get that. Fresno State's got some good ones. San Jose State's got some good ones. They're very explosive last year. Louisiana Tech. These teams average 50 points a game. I'm sure the receivers know how to run a route and catch the ball. They might be a little smaller, but who cares? I'm tired of watching this Dobson guy drop the ball. I mean, it's like, this guy, what's he doing out there? I don't get the coach. The guy can't catch. Get him off the field. It's fairly obvious. Anyway, that's week 3. Teaserking, www.teaserking.com. Please send comments or anything you want to me, and I'll certainly help. And this will be another good week. The NFL now has got very few dominant teams. The dogs are aplenty in most of these games. And when in doubt, just hammer the dog. And unless, the cardinal rule, which I didn't do last week, was don't go against the best team. And for years I wouldn't go against, New England or Frisco and Dallas when they were good in the 90s. You just don't bet against them. I bet against Denver last week with the Giants in 11. Should have got the tie, but really the game, I mean, there's a kicked interception and then Denver fumbles and they pick it up. I mean, those 2 plays there were flukes, but that's what happened. But again, you don't make a living betting against the best teams. You make a living betting against the weak teams. And that's the key to it. When the wrong teams are favored, you take the dog or the other team. And that's what I look for. Anyway, have a great weekend. I hope to make a bunch more money. And I'll be doing my college right now. Okay. Have a great weekend. Again, it's the Teaser King, www.teaserking.com. Thank you.